Aloha everyone, my name is Alessandro and this is the Temple of Surf, the podcast. We'll give you full access to the best surfers, skaters, shapers, surfboard collectors, shop owners in the world. Discover with me their stories, the greatest successes, amazing behind the scenes, and much more. Aloha! Welcome to the 12th episode of the Temple of Surf, the podcast. There are steps in my journeys with this podcast that definitely are truly exceptional. Interviewing Nat Young was one of them. I was honored to discuss with him about his career, surfing all over the world, his books, and much more. Hello, Mr. Young. Welcome to the show. Where are you today?
I'm fine, Alexandra. I'm doing good back here in a place called Angari in Australia.
I hope everything is fine over there for coronavirus. People can still move around, can go to surf. How's the situation?
Well, it's still a little bit difficult with some of the states because the actual lockdowns are handled by the state, not by the federal government. So, like if you want to go, for instance, to one of the other states that still has lockdown, you have to go into quarantine. So it's still a little bit hard, but I think it's getting a lot easier the past couple of weeks. We only got our vaccine. We got our first vaccine about a week ago now, and it's been going into all the nurses and the doctors and all the people that it's necessary to get.
Yeah, definitely. So today we're not going to talk about coronavirus. We're going to talk about surf, a lot of surf. The first question that I have for you is, in your opinion, what is the most important thing in surf?
I think the most important thing with surfing is to really live the truth of what surfing is. Because you don't, it's different to all the other activities. It's not. Most of the other activities don't live in nature like surfers do. So they're not really, they don't really every day to day have to encompass what exactly nature really is. But surfers have to live by nature. We know exactly what's going on with the wind and the swell and and we try to time our activities so as we get the best surf that we possibly can. So I think that's the biggest difference.
Yeah, definitely. I agree with you. We deal with something that is the ocean that by definition is alive like us, right? And so has to become like a good partnership, if you want to say, right?
Yeah, well, you learn all the classic lessons, like you're never gonna win. So don't ever fight the ocean because you'll never win. So that's a very big thing, and you see a lot of people in many other activities who still think that they can win, and that's fine for where the activities they do. But when you start to get to surfing, we learn very rapidly that you're never going to win, that you've just got to give up and go with it,
Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with you. It's so powerful.
Well, you have to.
Yeah, I must. Yes, definitely.
Well, we all have to. That's the way it works,
Yeah.
because there's no point, you struggle when you're on the bottom of the ocean being held down. You just got to relax, and eventually you'll come up, but you've got to really relax through it, or it's you can really get hurt if you're trying to fight your way to the surface when you should be just letting the ocean turn you up to the surface. Most times it turns you up.
In effect, I was talking a few episodes ago with Tom Carroll that now is doing a meditation coach, and he's doing meditation session, and he told me Alessandro, when you're down in the water, meditation really helps, to keep cool and to make sure that you go through without panicking, and is so helpful. And I understand. It's like.
Well, it's as soon as you get to a certain level of surfing, you realize that, or you do enough surfing, you realize that's the fact. So you can't fight. You can't you can't fight nature.
No, definitely.
We used to have that as a logo for when I worked for Oxbow. It used to be one of the logos was "You can't fight nature," and it's true.
Okay. Oh, yeah. I didn't know about that, but definitely yes, definitely that.
No, it was a long time ago now.
But it was right. I know that they ask you this question a million times, but I am very, very interested in your first proper surfboard. Do you remember, and do you still have it?
No, I don't have it anymore. I actually don't know what happened to that one. That's a bit of a shame, but my first surfboard was made, my first real surfboard. I mean, I had one that was called the Queen Mary, which was a giant, was a 10-foot long 3-stringed balsa board. And I had that, and that really that was a second-hand board, so it wasn't my board as such. But then the next board was, it was a 9-foot copy of a thing called the Pig board, made by a local builder, and he did a really good job. He bleached all the balsa, so it was very white, and in the end, I had one of this guy finished the board up, and then I got him to leave a little place in the front where I could paint Pixie. There was these 3 mice that used to be, they were a cartoon, so I painted Pixie on the front of the board. But that was, once again, a long time ago.
It was a long time ago, and those boards are not there with you anymore. That's, I'm sorry.
No, I have a lot of boards, but I probably have, counting the boards at the local hotel, I probably have, 30 boards, I guess.
Okay.
But I've lost a lot of boards with the fires, when that happened on the farm. I lost the board from Morning of the Earth. I lost the board from my 50th birthday party, from a 50th birthday present from Donald Takayama. I lost a really lot of important boards on the farm, when the fire came. So that was a bit of a shame, but that's what happened there.
Yeah, unfortunately, it happened, and memory, but still the memory stays with you, right? So if
oh yeah, no, I can recall all of that about all of the board, pretty much all of the important boards that I've had. Some of them these days, I mean, I find myself these days holding on to boards, because I'm not surfing. I'm surfing every day I can, but I mean, sometimes I don't bother going surfing, and I might only, and I don't go out there and ride for an hour. I go out there and I ride 5 waves, and that's all I want to get now. If I get 3 good waves out of 5, then I feel really good, and I come in on the beach and just watch everyone.
Yeah,
I'd rather watch sometimes. Less is best.
I agree with you. Less is best, definitely.
It's just not. It's very frustrating when there's a lot of people in the water. You just have to be. You have to be able to balance your input so as you're not getting frustrated.
Yeah,
because it ruins the whole surfing experience if you end up getting frustrated by people, by too many people in the water. Yeah. And unfortunately, that's what's happened around the world. I mean, there's so many people surfing now. Yeah. And I don't, you can't be a hypocrite about this. I understand why they're doing it. It's the same reason that I started doing it, and stayed with it, because I think it's the most sensible activity that you can possibly have as an activity to keep you sane, especially in this day and age.
Yeah, especially in these days. In effect, while talking with you right now, it came into my mind the interview that I had with Joy Cabell, and as well with Fred Hemmings. And they told me, at that time, Alessandro, in Hawaii, we were waiting for people to join us and go surfing because it was dangerous, right? And we having a mate that was surfing with you was a good thing, because in case you were in difficulties, you had somebody that could rescue you. And looking at today's lineup, it's pretty crowded, right, compared to those times.
I was talking to somebody on the weekend that was here about, they wanted to know about, what Byron Bay was like in 1969, when I first moved there. I had to go and find someone to go surfing with me. I'd
Yes.
drive around until one of my friends would, I'd find one of my friends and then we'd go surfing. And it was just, and surf was really good. There just wasn't anybody there to surf with.
Exactly.
So that story, what Cabela and also Hemmings told you, is totally understandable to me. I mean, I even here at Angari, I've surfed it with really good surf and 3 other people. Not for 30 years, though.
No.
It's not like that anymore.
No.
The realities are that it's crowded,
Yes.
and, but still it's important to make sure that you're still surfing.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, I have to keep surfing. When I don't surf anymore, that's going to be a very sad day when I can't paddle out and can't catch some good waves. So, and I think that's an important thing to do. If you're a surfer, you should be going surfing.
Yeah, definitely. Let's hope that moment will never happen. So, what, in your opinion, was the defining moment of your career? Of course, you won tour title, you won a lot of other titles, but there was a moment, in your opinion, that was the defining moment of your career.
I suppose the 1966 World Championship, because I felt like at that stage, like I was really doing the best surfing out of everybody that was there. And I was surfing a whole different style compared to everyone else, and so so the fact that I was successful was pretty great, and that was in San Diego, and that was on a board that I shaped myself from a lot of Bob McTavish's ideas and George Greenow's ideas, and things that I'd been playing with, and the board was fantastic, really responsive, and I surfed it really hard, and so I think that 66 World Championship was a defining moment as far as because that's when they say that the shortboard thing started to happen, which is. I don't know whether I was surfing a shorter board, but it was certainly shorter than what I'd been on a year before that. It was 9'3" was not that small a board, I don't think, but still, Later on, we surfed really small boards. That wasn't.
Yeah.
It was a good board though. It was called Sam. It was a good board.
Definitely the transition between a 12 foot and a 9 foot, you cannot really call it like a shortboard, right? But
No, I don't think so either. But everybody is always, says that that's the shortboard era, So I guess it is in a lot of ways. It was because before that the boards were, and a lot of people in the competition were riding boards 10 foot long.
yeah.
So my board being 9'3" was shorter than what they were all riding.
Yeah.
And also it didn't have much float, It was a really low, But the biggest thing about it was that it had really tight rails, and a lot of the boards that were being made around the world at that stage didn't have really tight rails. They just had a very round rail.
Yeah. I remember those boards. I saw pictures, and I agree with you. Like the race were not like at least some of the.
Yeah, it was. It was a good board. Sam was a good board.
Yeah.
But I never did. I didn't get that back either. Unfortunately, there was another one that I don't have, but I don't even know where that one ended up. Apparently, these people sent it to Hawaii for me, but I didn't ever get it. So.
Maybe
that's okay.
Maybe one day we'll resurface and you're gonna know what it is.
Maybe, but I think it's a little. I think that one's gone and dusted. That's over.
Okay. What is the emotion? Maybe it's a very simple question. I'm sorry for it, but it's genuine. What is the emotion that you have when you realize that you are world champion? Is something that, as an athlete, it's. What goes through your head? I mean, when you know that you are.
No, it's incredible. I mean, it's one of the highest things that you can achieve personally. When everybody's going, like, hey, you're the best, you're the champ. It's a wonderful thing. I don't think it should be discounted at all. I think anybody that sort of says, "Oh, it doesn't really matter," it was fantastic. I loved it when I was told that I was the world champion that time in '66. Anyway, the ones on the longboard, I didn't really. I mean, I was just. It was a sort of I was trying to prove a point. So I was trying to give a standard for what longboard surfing was. So that was really different. But as far as the actual '66 World Championship, when I was told I was world champion, I mean, I couldn't be higher, I don't think, than that, incredible elation.
Yeah. And you were saying like, okay, people were saying to you, you are a world champion. And now they're saying that about you, they're saying you are a legend. Do you consider yourself one?
Certainly, I suppose so, but I don't think about it like that. I think about it as a sort of, because, of all the books and the movies and the things that I've said over the years, I consider myself a tribal elder.
Okay.
One of the tribe, but still just now at 74, I'm an elder of the whole thing, and I feel like I'm being a good elder. I feel like I'm living by the example of what an elder should live by. In other words, still staying out in the water and surfing hard.
Definitely.
So that to me is important, to be able to still do it. I just hope it doesn't happen that I'm incapacitated and I don't get to surf into my very old age. Because now at 74, you feel like, well, I'm not 74 yet, but 74 this year. But you feel like you're really getting old, And I mean, I know I'm getting old, but I'm not having a problem with it so far. My health is good. I've got a new knee, which is made out of titanium, and I've got I've got a good supportive family around me. So I think I've got a lot going on in my life, and and good projects to work on, and I'm doing fine, but I don't think that I will. I don't know at what point I will sort of say, look, hopefully nothing will go wrong where I have to stop surfing before I get very old.
I think the keeping ourselves busy and keeping yourself busy, I think, is going to be one of the secrets, of longevity. I think I see it from many person around me. If you keep yourself busy and you do a lot of things, then you're able to do more and more things, even in when you are like 92 years old, like my grandfather. So he still does more exercise than most probably I do. But nevertheless, we're not here to talk about.
Well, I think there's the old saying about you snooze, you lose.
Yeah, exactly.
So you have to just keep going. I mean, I still am doing my exercises every day and going for walks on the beach with my wife, and just enjoying. As I was on the farm and I had work to do up there with a big tractor and doing work that had to be done.
Yeah.
So that's a different way to it's a different way to fly, but it's really it's really important to keep busy, like you say, and that's for me. Keeping busy is there's many things to keep me busy. So. I just, even if it's just reading a book or doing my exercises or whatever, it's all important.
I totally agree with you. While I was preparing this interview, I discovered, and I'm sorry, I didn't know, that you wrote so many books, and I found it like amazing. And I wanted to ask you, same question about surfing that I started with at the beginning of the interview. In your opinion, what is the most important thing in writing a book?
It depends on, the autobiography. I mean, Nat's Nat and Nat's That was a major task for me, because I had to go back to all of my diaries, and I've been keeping diaries since I was like 16 years old. So I just write notes down that can refresh my memory, and so that was the most important thing to me to do, was Nat's Nat. That was a really good project, and still, I still get compliments on that from different people. But the last one, Church of the Open Sky, was more about, I was recovering from this knee operation, and I just figured I'd just get a hold of the diaries again. So I got my wife to and I just started writing because, like we said before, I was just trying to do something constructive. So, I'd start writing, and then I started to correlate the stories. So, I could get to different people that I'd spent a lot of time with, like Mickey Dora, for instance, and I could talk to, get up the notes from when we were in Afghanistan together and through that period, and early days of France and, in the 70s. And, there's so many things that jog your memory. And I think it's important to tell the stories that are the stories of surf, because people forget that, our history is really different compared to all the other histories, so it's not like it's the same as all these other activities, we're really different. And, and because we're so different, then, it means that you can tell some really good stories about the times with these different really interesting characters that, and a lot of times they weren't, perfect role models. As Mickey Dora wasn't a role model for me. He was just a really good mate, but, he did a lot of things outside the law, but that's okay to me. He was a friend, and we were doing a lot of playing together, so, and I had some really good times with him, so I can tell a lot of those stories. And I did that in Church of the Open Sky. I tell all the different stories that I could think of, or that I could use my diary to reference back to.
And among these stories, is there one particular that you keep very dear to your heart?
Not really. They're all those stories they were really pretty personal anyhow. So none of them were sort of one that sort of gets, they're the people that have done the wrong thing, or people that have done the right thing. And, I was just telling it how it all affected me and the way it all is. So I don't, no, there wasn't any that were particularly, I mean, I told you that, that story just a little while ago about Mickey Dora, because he was the most colourful. I think he was probably the most colourful person in surfing that's ever been. And I think it's fascinating that he lived so long, and that I got to be a friend of his for so long.
What was the best experience that you had with Mickey Dora? Was going in Afghanistan? Was a lot of trips together? Since you were talking about him, what was the let's say the best experience, or the funniest experience with him? Because I think it was a very iconic surfer, but also a very fun person to be with, right?
Oh yeah, he was certainly entertaining. Well, I suppose the best story that comes to mind is when Mickey and I were in the south of France, and he was getting bored and decided that we should go to the Saint-Jean-de-Luz tennis club, because he was a good tennis player and I was a complete hack, but, I could hit balls back sometimes. And we ended up getting into a game of doubles with two really good tennis players, and then Mickey ended up being frustrated and suggesting that they should play for money, and that he would, and we didn't have much money then, because we'd sort of blown all our money on the travels from Afghanistan and through. And then so he ended up blowing all these, or challenging these people to serious tennis for, like 500 francs a game,
Wow.
So then, and we lost, we were down about, I don't know, like 4,000 or 5,000 francs. And Mickey just decided then that he was really going to play, so he took every ball, and he nailed these poor Frenchmen. And, we ended up getting about, we made, thousands and thousands of francs. And,
Wow.
And it was quite interesting, because Mickey was really playing them the whole way, because we needed money to be able to live. So that's how he was going to do it. But he was a colourful guy to hang out with, that's for sure.
Amazing. Yes, amazing story. Fantastic. I don't want to be in the shoes of those French tennis players that they got.
Well, they were okay. They thought, and they could play tennis very well. But Mickey, between golf and tennis, he was a complete professional. He played a lot with pros.
But at least
So he knew exactly how to hit balls very well. That's what his whole thing was, either riding waves or hitting balls.
at least like these two French tennis player, they end up playing a tennis match with Mickey Dora and Nat Young. So I mean, it's not everyday match, right? So they're
No, I don't. Well, I don't know whether they even. I don't think they cared about who was. They just really wanted to win, And they thought they were good enough to win, but they didn't count on Mickey when he really got in gear. So that was pretty funny. It was pretty fun. The whole thing was hilarious. We had a great time in France that year.
Definitely.
We were staying at that. What was the name of that little hotel down there just before Guitry? I can't even remember it, but there's a really nice little hotel right in Bidar, and I can't remember the name of the hotel. Maybe
there is Biarritz, Bidar, Guitry, and Bayonne.
In the middle of Bidar, that hotel in the middle of Bidar.
Okay, no, I don't know the name.
So we stayed there, and then we surfed Guitry most days, and then this was obviously a day when Mickey was bored, so he decided he'd have to get some activity into it. He loved it when he had to, once he decided he wanted to do something, he really got it going. He did, that's not, in Nat's Nat, I tell a couple of much better stories than that, but that's just one that came to mind,
Definitely. Thank you for sharing. And, as soon as I knew that these two books were published, I ordered them, so they're on the way to me, and I look forward to read them because I saw a lot of stories, so I look really forward.
No, I think you'll enjoy them.
Yeah, I will. Definitely. I look forward. Really, I'm looking like next week. What is the best teaching that you had from surf?
It's the same as what I said before. It's just that you have to be patient. And if you're patient, a good wave will probably come, and if it doesn't come, then you ride some rubbish and you go in and you do it again after. You have to, I think you have to understand that it's not always perfect, and sometimes you're going out, sometimes I surf just simply for exercise. I mean, I go out there and I get my 5 waves, but in some of them, I won't even get 5 good waves. So I'll just I'll paddle around out there and try to catch a few more waves, and if it doesn't happen, that's okay, because sometimes it just doesn't happen. So it's called patience, and that's what happens.
Definitely, patience. That not a lot of people today have patience. I think it would be much better word if there was more patience all around. Yeah.
Well, I think that, that's another thing what surfing teaches you, like you just got to wait on the wave. You got to wait on your turn, you can't have every wave, Yeah. It's not like that, you have to give in order to receive. So,
definitely.
that's just the rules of nature, that's the way it is. So you better buck up and do it, because you're not going to get anywhere to do it the other way. You'll just end up getting frustrated, driving yourself crazy. So you might as well just give in and just be patient with the surf, because and inevitably, if you sit there and you wait and I mean, I'm pretty fortunate around here because I'm the oldest guy in the water. So everybody goes, oh, okay, Nat, and everybody knows that I only ride 5 waves, so I'm in pretty good shape. I mean, I get my 5, so it's okay, it's not like I don't get harassed by people out in the water. Even the tourists, when they're here, they sort of seem to know who I am, so they give me a bit of a break. And I don't want that much anyhow. I really don't. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if I get, I want one or two, but that's about it.
Okay, but as you said during the interview, being the elder of the tribe, that comes with recognition, of course, but also comes with.
Well, sometimes, but it's hard. We get. I was talking to a guy the other day. We've got 5 Brazilians that have just moved into town and they're renting a house for a couple of months. Okay. Which is very nice, but there's a lot of they think that they should be able to have every wave or have as many waves as they want, and the bottom line is they can't, because there's a lot of people that live here that don't want to give them every wave. So that I think, but that's a mentality thing. Like in Brazil, with so many people, you've got to fight for every wave. So yeah. That's what they do, and that gets a little ugly after a while. But I think being around here now for about a week or so, they'll learn. They really will. Everybody learns.
Yeah, definitely. And they will learn, I'm sure about the experience, they will learn that they cannot catch every wave, and they need to have more respect for locals, otherwise they go.
Well, that's exactly right, and I mean, they get screamed at, and they just, but that's, and some of them are, they seem like really nice people, but they have to realize that they can't, there's such a thing as people that have lived here all their lives, or most of their lives, and they don't want to be dropped in on. They don't want to be worked over. They're just out there for their normal surf after work or before work or before school, and the people like that have to be understanding about that situation. Yeah, because it's not going to do anybody any good to get into a shouting match, or heaven forbid if it went any other direction. But we don't want that to happen. We don't want anything like that to happen.
Definitely. Are you working on something new, particularly? Of course, you are working on a lot of things, as we said. But are you working on maybe a new book or something else, a new project?
After the last book, I'm really just having time off as far as writing goes. I mean, I'm writing in my diary, but that's about all I'm doing. The rest of it is all, I just haven't felt inspired since Nat's Nat. I've just sort of thought, since Church of the Open Sky, I've just thought, you know what, I'm just going to take some time off and see if I can get some further inspiration to write again. But I don't know whether it's going to happen. I mean, I felt inspired, and also, as I told you, I had the knee operation, so I was recovering. I was in bed. So Church of the Open Sky was written primarily from bed. So I don't really want to, I don't really feel that I really should be writing anything right now. And, I've got a lot of things on with this new house, and because of the fires, I've had to change our position of our house on the farm, so the family has decided that we won't go to the same place. So we've moved a mile inland on the property, away from all the roads and away from all the people. So, okay. Yeah, it's at least a kilometre and a half away from the main road. So there's been some big changes, No, I've got, there's so much work to do up there that I go up there and solve a problem, and that keeps me going.
Yeah, keeps you busy. We're going to finish our interview with a short Q&A, so question and answer session. Please answer the first thing that comes up to your mind, okay?
Okay.
The best surfboard that you ever ridden?
It's a Ryan Birch asymmetric 7.2, what I'm riding right now. It's got incredible acceleration. I love the board, and although it's a year and a half old, so I probably should get another one, but I still love it.
Okay. Your favorite shaper?
Well, I have to say Ryan Birch.
Yeah.
And, it's different because Ryan Birch is shortboards, and if you go to longboards, Donald Takayama, for sure.
Yeah.
But since Donald's not alive anymore, I'm just,
Okay. But good choice. Anyway, I agree with you. Your favorite personal question, your favorite song?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's so many songs. I mean, I like the poetry of Bob Dylan. So there's a song that Bob Dylan did called Bob Dylan's Dream. Okay. And it's been an important part of my whole being for a long time. So that's my favorite song, I'd say.
Okay. Your favorite surf spot?
This is a hard one too, because they're all every place has its day. You know, I mean, of course, I love my home break here at Angari, but also I know that there's a lot of times when there's a lot of better waves in the world. And I think Niawatu in Indonesia is probably the most consistent wave you can get, for as long as you're prepared to pay for it. Yeah. It's expensive these days, but and my mate doesn't own it anymore, so I have to pay too.
Oh my God!
But that's a good fun thing. Niawatu is fantastic. It's such a it was called Ocky's Left. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about.
Definitely.
It's a great wave.
Definitely. Who's your favorite surfer today?
Well, without a doubt, it's my son, Bryce Young. I don't know whether anybody you've ever seen him surfing, but it's just it's electric, I mean, that's why he's the lead surfer for Whistler. Okay. Because he's just so good. It's just incredible.
You keep it in
and
the
I watch
family.
him. I guess because also he's so I see him all the time. So he's surfing sometimes with me, but sometimes I'm just sitting on the beach watching, and I'm just in awe of watching his surfing.
Okay. I like that. I like the family spirit. The last question is a little bit unusual. We ask everybody on the show. I like to know your best relationship advice.
Oh, that's easy. I mean, to me, it's hurry slowly. In other words, go really fast, but make sure that you're sure which foot's going where.
Okay.
So you can be walking the board and apply hurry slowly, or you can be walking down the road, or you can be taking an aircraft, or you can be riding a wave. It's all about hurry slowly. That's what our family motto is, and that's what I think is the best thing to represent me.
Okay. I like that. Mr. Young, thanks so much for your time. It has been an honor for me, and I look forward to talk to you very, very soon.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Hi, it's me again. I hope you enjoyed our today's episode. If you want to know more about us, please follow www.thetempleofsurf.com and all our social media. Mahalo!